for love, for this wounded world, not just my piece of land. We need to stand for love, because we need more light, not deaths, not power, not bombs. We need to stand for love, so that our children are safe. Make this world a better place. We need to stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. We need to stand for love, so that our children are safe. Make this world a better place. We need to stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. We need to stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. We need to stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. We need to stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. We need to stand for love. We need to stand for love. We need to stand for love.
Yeah, here we go. It worked, Darren, it worked.
All right.
So I'm really pleased to start this spontaneous live show with you, Darren Diru. We had a conversation earlier on, and I wanted to, and actually you asked me to to do the show for me. But anyway, so Darren, I'm really pleased to welcome you to this show to speak about your views on love, purpose, and community. So can you say a little bit more about that? When did you start
Yes.
thinking these strange things, and what happened with that?
First of all, thank you for the invitation and the constant invitation to come back to this party, because this help at not just crafting an artistic way of speech, but it's tapping things I needed to process and helping me be a better human, like in general, I think a better person for myself. So when you invited me to your workshop that's coming up here and said, hey, would you join us again? What time and date? Tell us I forgot the hour.
It's on Saturday, the 1st of January, so that we can start the new year
cool.
in a very interesting way. And it's in the morning for you guys. And it's starting, I know for Brussels, it starts at 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
But I guess it means you can check your your Belgian clock or your Seattle clock.
I do have a Belgian clock here.
I can show it again because you can see it. You can see it.
I'm one-handed, so it's there we go. 22:36.
Yeah, that's the time here now.
Yeah.
So what is your time over there then?
It's 1:36 here in the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. Yeah, I'm in Washington State, for those that don't know.
So I think for you, it's starting around 8:30, something like that, or
okay,
in the morning. Yeah.
Well, I'll be there for certain. The first workshop you invited me to, I thought I was joining to strum some guitar and be in the background because I'm not a writer. I'm not going to produce anything. And the whole time I didn't pick up my guitar. And that workshop was not a workshop about for love. It was just an introduction to poetry for me. But what caught my attention was your TED talk about your poem for love, and how that one moment in time just kept going in perpetuity. And so when you ask me about like, where did I get that sort of process of the love, purpose, and community? And it's, for me, it's from falling out of those things. And then I'm like, to me, they tend to go in sequential order. You're loving yourself. And then at some point, when you know and you value yourself enough, you go, man, do I belong where I've been this whole time? What is my real purpose here? And so you really helped me in a moment. And it was just, what Jimmy Jam and I call a God moment, where it's just perfect moment in time. I wasn't ready to be a poet, but you struck me with this For Love poem. And I saw what happened when the translation happened. And when
Yeah.
these people read it, the power became, you saw it flowing like water, and it just kept growing and growing. And from that, I've watched your purpose change this year, and you've developed more workshops from that, and you've done more reaching
Yeah.
out to other people. And what has come from that? Almost an entirely new community. And so that's what I'm saying. It just happens. And it happens when there's not divisiveness within, in the community. And that's right back to love. There can't be love and divisiveness. And so my son and I were talking about this today. And the nicest thing to know is, like, for me, when I'm in depression, for those that know me, I've struggled with manic bipolar. And so I get wiped out sometimes. But almost always there's something I'm overlooking. And there's a way back to a wellspring, is what I call it, of water, instead of wellspring of tar. Or imagine drinking a clear glass of 10W30 motor oil in comparison, like, and that's what so many people do when they're going at the internet, feeding the frenzy of the day with bad news and comments and it's divisive ideas and all of this stuff. They've eliminated their chance at giving themselves a moment in time to love themselves that day. And so my first talk with my son today is, how do you get back to that? For me, is I have to turn my phone off. How do I heal? I actually have to go to my source, and that doesn't come from the internet.
and so I'm just going to say hi to DJ, who is there. She says
DJ.
she misses you. Stand for love. So I'm trying to get her on the show now, but
Cool.
She will be trying. So hopefully we'll get her. I think this is great what you're saying, and that's kind of what I'm also always trying to go back to, because it's very difficult, especially at this period of time, that to get into the argumenting and the pros and cons and all these things and the divisiveness and the others are bad and I'm right and they're wrong. One of the things I remember is it's actually a saying by Dr. Phil. At some point, I used to watch those shows, or I would catch them sometimes. And I remember him telling, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? All right. And for me, that sort of helps me to remember it's not about being right or wrong. It's about fulfilling our purpose. It's about loving ourselves. It's about loving the community. It's about contributing. It's not about being right. That has nothing to do with that. So for me, taking down the Facebook and the social media and the commentary and disconnecting is one of the first step to going back to some quietness. And when you go into the quietness and the stillness, you can go back to the source, as you call it. And would you then say, for you, source is like what you qualify as love? What does it mean, love, to stand for love?
Yeah. So, like, when I say I'm going back to source, I'm saying I'm going to, I'm huklila. I'm listening between the lines. I'm listening to the wind, and I'm talking to my creator, who has made me odd and different and not like anything else. And the more I commune in that zone, I'm realizing I'm not all these negative ideas that I tell myself when I'm low, like what the F, Darren, get moving. Like when you're in a physical place in a sling and I'm in pain and I tell myself, grit harder, go. And it's like, there's no love or care for myself in that. And so
Right.
when I'm closer to so how I get to source is I start my day off without anything inputting. Um, and I fail. I do this all the time. I get back to waking up and looking at my phone right away instead of going out to this space, which I'm sitting in, that is inspiring for me because there's music production equipment and
Mm.
art and everything that inspires me. So I come in this zone and I just shut everything off. I turn the lights off and I'm just sitting in silence and in prayer and in intention. I'm imagining um in a different way the things I would like to see different, and I'm communing with myself in that regard. And a lot of times I'm realizing I'm just my worst critic and I'm more hard on myself, and I cause myself a lot more stress and pain than I ever really ever needed in my entire life. And so um, if I start that day off like in that regard, I feel untouchable by the world when hit with um, another someone telling you so and so got shot or something
Yeah.
huge happened or someone's got COVID and oh no. And like if I start out that way, I'm not saying I'm not affected. I'm human, but I'm not um, first of all, I know how to get back there. So if I feel bad again, I stop midday and I go back to the silence and to the quiet and to the listening. And then I guess you know what Huklila means in Likhotawi, which is our language, which is from the Kwakwakiwak Nation of natives. And the only reason I know that word is because of this poem.
Yeah.
Right. And so and how the love and care for what you did for me and in the world made me frenzied with I want to solve the puzzle of speaking my language to you that's tens of thousands of years old in your poem. And I was like, it inspired me, and I never got there. Here we are an entire year later,
Yeah.
and still no one in my tribe or family has been able to completely translate that. And that's because there's very few, less than probably 100 speakers in my nation left. And so will we get there? Absolutely, because I'm learning now, and those words have a deeper meaning to me. um, and it was the love that I saw happening in regard, and I just felt like if my people could experience this in their language, no one has ever done that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one ever thinks of them. I mean, there's 750 or so of us in the island in Canada, and the world, that Indian problem is over, right? They don't think about that. It's now becoming a topic. Um, but I mean, shoot, you even get into that, and then you see rage come up and how that affects people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And my comment to the community of folks that I talk to there is that rage never wins, right? Ultimate rage looks like the Roman Empire or Hitler. Like that's just there, nothing stops us,
Yeah.
and but none of those things live for long. Love and things that are community living and like that stuff carries for like generations and generations and generations and generations.
Yeah, it's very much regenerative. Huh? That's maybe I mean people who know me know the poem, huh, which is the poem for love that
Yeah.
I wrote the morning after terrorists attacked Brussels. So there were two sides attacked, and I lost a friend in one of the attacks in the bombing of the metro station. And the poem has really given me that. Is I mean it's obviously it was also for me to try to sort of um, express something that has been on my mind for a while. And I'm just going to welcome DJ right away. And I will continue. Hey, DJ.
Hey.
sit here
Good to
properly.
see you. So that poem, when I started sharing it, it's well for me. It really healed me. It brought me back to my source. And every time I sort of say the poem or I say the first line, which is "I shall stand for love," it sort of reminds me of what's important for me. It helps me go beyond, the divisiveness. It helps me to really to do stuff I wouldn't do otherwise, because I might be too timid, or maybe because I don't know what's going to happen or whatever. So then I think about this almost as a mantra, and then it reconnects me to what's important. So yeah, that's and when like other people have been translating it, sharing the poem, or when you started connecting with your community and started to learn the language, that's the bestest gift I can get. And it's not a gift for me, it's a gift for everyone, for you, for your community, for the poem that's can be shared, that can have so many different forms and expressions. Also, like the song we heard at the beginning of the live is it comes out of the poem. So that's really
Yeah.
beautiful. So I'm really happy to welcome DJ.
Hi. How do
So
I sound?
you sound perfect.
Thank you.
Oh, you have a nice background there.
I
You're
have a
playing.
green screen up, and normally I don't use a green screen, but I do today because I was working on an event last night and I needed to take down my normal background.
All right.
So I'm
Uh,
trying to put something a little less hard with that brick wall. I wanted something I was looking for something softer.
Oh, that's
yeah, it's
great.
pretty cool, and we have different colors and backgrounds. So that's. I don't know. We have a message from so Spoof. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but don't know what it means. All right. Anyway, everyone
Me
is
neither.
welcome, and if you have
So
questions,
good to see you, DJ. It's been a
yeah.
long
Yeah,
time.
you too. Thanks for the
Yeah.
invitation to you, Dorothy and Darren. It's been really, really fantastic working and knowing both of you this year. And Darren, like you were saying, it's, connecting with Dorothy and feeling that poetry and really like owning it and understanding it and developing it and finding something that you knew was maybe inside you, but you'd never really tapped into it. So I've definitely leaned into that because of Dorothy, and me and Dorothy just had a conversation not that long ago on a one-on-one, and I shared with her what I've been working on. So I'm really excited, and she's really inspired me as well to tap into that and find peace there, because, and I know I've said this story in the past, but people always say, oh, all you need to do is write, journal to really let out those feelings. And I like the structure with poetry, but the freedom as well. It was just for me perfect.
Yeah, and you've been writing. It's amazing what you've done. So we will be seeing lots of beautiful things from you in the future. DJ, how do you?
DJ,
Yes, sir.
can I interrupt?
Go ahead.
And it wasn't that simple for you. It wasn't just a simple workshop that you went through and wrote some stuff. I mean, what you wrote rocked me, and what Mackenzie wrote took it to a different level. And then since then, I've been processing it since. You got a tattoo from that.
Yes.
See,
so
a little umbrella.
Right. So even in that, it's not dead. It still is going on. And that, when people ask the question, what's the umbrella about? Now you got something to share.
Yeah, for sure.
And it isn't just some barbed wire on your bicep. It's like there's meaning, and I wrote this, and this is a reminder every day when I see it,
Oh, absolutely.
And that was really cool when I watched that happen, because you're changing too. I'm changing too. We're all doing our thing. And I think especially coming out of the extreme stress of 2020, there's a small pocket of us that are still going at it our own way, that I believe started from this, Dorothy, from love, for love, and then just
for love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
like a movement.
Yeah.
So, DJ, tell us a little bit. How will you stand for love in the year to come? And how have you done in the past, or how do you connect to your source to sort of go beyond?
Yes. So, I'm very passionate about being an advocate for mental health and disability, and that's something I want to continue to do. But I've, made a decision for myself to follow my own passions and lean into what I feel is something that I need to lean into and pursue. So, I mean, everything that we're talking about, I'm really trying to live it. It's not just talk it. So I've officially, today was like my last office day. I went and I dropped off my computer today.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
I'm not going to be depending on that paycheck anymore. And I'm really investing in myself into 2022 and my creativity and my expression and what I can help others with and really help provide for them. And, so.
And you're a great show host and producer. So,
Yeah.
if people want you, there you are.
Yeah.
More available.
That's the whole goal. Yes, absolutely. And speaking and the workshops, I love facilitating. I love being with individuals and working through things with them, problem solving, engaging. And that's part of why I love live streaming, is that engagement and that working through with something and with, so that's something I don't want to give up. Something I want to continue to do is really like facilitate groups and movement and within our, whatever it sparks our psyche or skills or interests, is like, how do we just continue to move forward individually as who we are?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
So that's a part of your purpose, right, DJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's scary. It's terrifying, but you have to go. I'm trying to really go with what I feel is right and what I've meditated on and what I've been writing about and what I'm able to collect from my own thoughts as I look back into my own written words and expressions and the shows, even what I say in the shows. And, always going back. I don't watch my shows, but I do reflect a lot on the show. And this year I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at those shows and, hopefully make content out of it. So your faces will be back out there again. Dorothy, I'll go back to your show and we'll get something really wonderful from it. But, like it just keeps giving, right? It's there. And I want to create more to be there, to keep giving.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that, DJ. This will be an exciting year.
Yeah.
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 Darren, we just spoke briefly about purpose. Then looking at DJ's purpose, how do you look at purpose in combination with love? Then, because you said, well, I have 3 elements: love, purpose, and community.
Yeah, and those things are what I check. It's not like a list. It's not a checkbox. It's if one is missing, I go to the first thing, right? If I don't have community around me, well, maybe I stopped with my purpose, and I did, and I don't have anybody around me. And like DJ's, her first comment, like, I haven't heard you for a while because I pulled back. But I did it with intention this time and purpose. So although I pulled back and most of the world doesn't understand, I went hard at healing and not just what's in here, but physically. And like DJ, I don't know if you can see, I've got my arm sling on. I had my surgery, which I postponed for a year out of an immense amount of fear for entering the field of, what am I going to do with pain medication again? What am I going to do if this surgery goes wrong? I've had so many years of sobriety that I don't think about stuff like alcohol or drugs could be next to me. And it's not like a nagging twin, right? It's not an evil brother. It's like, no, I mean, that doesn't belong to me. It's not mine. It just does not belong to me. And what I've noticed is the closer I get to that, the further those things feel to me. And so this time I went through surgery with less family, like bigger family around my household, but less friends, less outside impact. But I did more in between my ears because I couldn't control those things. And I noticed my depression was going in a direction. I'm entering surgery. Dorothy, you sent me some amazing tools. I hit those like it was crazy. I mean, I'm like, every hour I'm listening to these meditations. I'm not going to go into this fearing anything again. And I
Yes.
went into surgery and left. And I mean, it was remarkable. The
You were
difference.
also like really like almost playing off the scenario, and thinking about how the positive way that the surgery would take place and the healing will take place as well, huh, right? So
Yeah.
you were really looking at that from a loving perspective again.
Yeah. And what I now realize is when I allow those thoughts in my brain, and then I just go, no, I'm fine with a positive top cover, that's not real. I actually need to get
Yeah.
to the bottom of it. And so I'm losing my train of thought because someone walked in on me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I do agree. Like everything you said some really powerful things, but I do think like taking time to heal and doing that for yourself is wonderful. The meditation and finding that space to finally go into it with a sense of calm, a sense of peace. I needed that before I could put in my letter of resignation. Like I wrote the letter of resignation on a Thursday and I let it sit there over the weekend so I could really like meditate on this decision and have that sense of peace before I hit the send button. Mm-hmm. So it was a draft. It was something that was like there, but there without that peace or without feeling that sort of what do you call it? Like that resolving it with yourself first. Yeah. Right. I knew I couldn't do it. So once I had that feeling, I was like, okay, I'm ready. And I'm going to take on whatever it is. I'm ready to take it on. Yeah. And not relying on those substances or not relying on like things that you have to consider that lots of other people don't even realize. Like you have to take those considerations for your own self, for your own health, for your own like well-being. And a lot of people don't understand what that takes. So surrounding yourself with people that do give you that comfort, like, if you would have sent me a message, I would have been like, hey, what's up? But, sometimes for me, I know I don't like to be invasive, where I don't like to be like in people's messages, like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. Where you been at? But I understand, like, so hopefully that those people that are around you kind of know your communication and can kind of really like support you in the way that you needed to be supported as you're managing this within your own self, because only you know, right? And I talk about being your own self advocate. Like nobody can be an advocate for you like yourself. You know what you need. You know what you in that environment that you is going to bring you the most safest, healthiest space to be able to process whatever it is you want to process, whether it's a creative process or a health, thing, or a mental or a decision, right? Something like that.
But it kind of also means that the people surrounding you, that they understand what your communication is, but also that they allow for you to withdraw. That they allow, that they invite you back, or that they, that they also
welcome open arms,
like we did with Darren.
Yes.
But that there is a sense that it's okay, and I think that's very important as external people, or if we are outside of that situation, that we can show that we are there, that we can maybe ask or maybe be present, but mostly that people understand they can come back, or they can say. So we say hi to Mackenzie, who's in the chat, and I don't know if you see that, Mackenzie. Darren has a special shirt on.
I do. Got my River Morning shirt.
I didn't even notice it yet.
I can't get quite in frame, but there you go.
I love it.
River Mornings.
Because part of part of showing up for love and standing for love is to support one another. And Mackenzie is an artist, and he produced those t-shirts, but he's doing also the lovely morning videos where we he invites us near the river for a cup of, I don't know what he's drinking, by the way, tea or coffee, I don't know, but I'm having my coffee at the same time and listening to the wise and loving words that Mackenzie is giving us, and you know, and there's many of things that the premiere of this film movie was happened just recently, no?
Last
DJ,
night.
you know,
We did,
last night it
yes.
was
It
a
was
full
last
house.
night. It was fun. So fun. We had a great turnout. We sold all our tickets. We had sold out. We had people saying, "Can I still get a ticket?" I was so busy with back producing stuff. I didn't have a chance to respond to say, "Here's the Zoom invite." But hopefully we'll get some really good clips from the Zoom recording. And I read a poem. I presented a poem.
Right.
That's why the background is the green screen. That's why you can't see it, but I have the green screen.
Yeah.
So that's why the green screen was up. We were all dolled up and dressed up, and we presented the film, and we really like highlighted diversity, and we really highlighted like pain and what we go through and emotion, and just really understanding the film, the motion behind the film. So it was great. So we'll hopefully have that. I think I started recording like 5 minutes into it. So I think I lost like about 5 minutes at the beginning, but not most of it. So I even had someone that missed and said, "Hey, do you have it recorded so I can go back and watch it? Sorry, I missed the event." So it's just been amazing, beautiful, supportive turnout. It's just been incredible.
Yeah. That's how the purpose joins the community. Standing for love, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I was going to ask Darren something, but I'm forgetting what it was. Yes, Darren.
We've all done it then.
It's okay. We are allowed, and we know that Mackenzie drinks coffee. Well, other people knew, I'm sure, but now I know. Thank you. Usually having coffee too. Darren, what is your purpose? If you know, I know it's a hard question to ask like that, but how could you define that?
Well, going backwards, my first thing was I realized my community was gone, right? And I was in a hole. And so then I went back to my purpose and like, oh, what am I doing? And what happened was I went back to work as an operations manager in a construction company doing the same old thing again, which is fine. But
it was also necessary, I guess, at some point. I mean,
I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I'm bored. I've done this career for so many years, and I've turned over so many organizations that are in chaos, and like we fix it. And I thought that there would be enough joy because I like the team, but there isn't. It's not my community. It's someone else's community that came out of their purpose and not mine. And so what's my overall purpose is off. It's not where it needs to be. And I've been hard at investigating it, and coming out of surgery, the things I knew were I need to be involved in healing with people, other humans, in some way. And I'm a music producer, and I love hip hop and rap music, and that's my number one. And so what I've done with that is I've gone, and when I can't touch the turntables and I can't do my things, and when I was, instead of feeling negative in the surgical time, I was like, oh, what can I do to get back to the thing I love? And I just started watching videos of people that were doing the thing. And then all of a sudden, my purpose picked back up. I started loving myself again. I start setting my alarm to get up before anybody's awake so I can come out here. And if I can't do it right now, I'm imagining myself doing it. I'm what does the song sound like? Well, okay. All right. That's the beat. What's the BPM? What's the key? You know, like I know, Dorothy, exactly the song part that I'm going to play for the song we worked on. I don't even know, 8 months ago. It's in my head and I still can't get there. And so what a lot of us do is we get fixated on what we can't do. And like, I can't get there. But if I know my purpose is overall in that direction, I can just start learning from all those people that are already there. And then from those little seeds come new inspiration, come more joy, come more love for myself. And then bam, what happens? You send me a message, invite me here. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll come on. community is happening again. And the more I get closer to this, my community, not yours, mine will come up. Is non-existent. I have only built communities for other people on LinkedIn. I'm a master at it. I'm so good at doing it for other people, but all I've done with my own is brought a number of people that I don't know. But I didn't grow. I didn't get the love connection communities part of it yet.
Yeah.
And so that's what you'll see that over this next 12 months. You'll see me digging into my purpose. And when I don't know what it is, it'll be me talking about what I don't know what it is. Wow. Or maybe you'll see nothing but instead of my face and talking is just a record spinning, because this is inspiring to me. This album, you need to hear this. Enough said, enough said. Everybody's talking. What do I have to offer that's different? And so, and the more I investigate that, it's more fun to be different than the same. Yeah, and we're all different. And so falling into my difference instead of going, what's wrong with me? Why am I different? Why can't I? No. I am made purposefully this way, Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I would love to. What I love about you as well, Darren, is that you will just take the camera and say, well, this is not working, right? And so we can all learn from what you're experimenting with, or what you're thinking, what you are playing with, because you have a lot of creativity. You challenge me to do stuff like this live now, or right. to record myself juggling or things like that. So I love that. And DJ, I don't know if you know that about, that he's very creative and he also has a big heart. But I don't know if you know what he has done with seeds, in the last year. Would you like to tell Diro what you have been doing to the fields around you with seeds?
So, yeah.
As an act of love.
When 2020 started, we had some stuff in the house and everybody was watching the news and not knowing what to do. That was the first time in my life of shutting the outside world off and going out into nature. I've never done that. I'm a city kid. I'm, from Seattle, really. But I lived in close enough to nature that it felt, close enough. But this time I was like, I can't do what the world's doing. And I didn't know what it was. And I just, I read something funny about seed bombing. And I was like, seed bombing, that sounds like graffiti.
I haven't heard
and this. I love graffiti. I used to do a lot of graffiti, tagging. D-Roo is a tag of mine, from back in the day. It's all over my office.
I saw when you made Mackenzie's name, when you did that piece of art for Mackenzie with her name. That was awesome. That looked like that street art.
And I love that stuff, but this time it was like, I started with the hospital in Issaquah because I had a friend die really early in COVID, and right after him was another young man who was right next to him. They both worked together, and they were both in the hospital 19 days, and one of them went home, and both of them had families, and I had a real hard time with that because I had worked with this guy for so long, and he spoke Spanish and I spoke English, and we were both terrible at the in-between, and we just tried to get to know each other, and we did through music, and that's what just looking back, that's really what got me to I got to do something different. And I started planting seeds. I found these mixed seeds and I bought out a Lowe's. I was like, I'm going to just buy all these. And I spent $300 on these bags of seeds, and they're each like 800 square feet is what they started out with. And then, by the end of 2020, we'd done 22,000 square feet of seeds all over Seattle. And then since then I've been doing it, what the calendar changes and they pull the seeds out and then they'll release a new set. And so I've been collecting them all year. And we moved several hours from Seattle. So now I'm in the middle of the desert, and flowers don't grow very well. So you got to be real sneaky and find where people are using sprinklers. and so it was meant to be more playful on this ball we're spinning around this galaxy on. And that was how am I going to play with the outside environment? And that's how it started. And it created so much joy when I saw them coming up, because they come up in rhythms. And you'll see there's some chamomile come up, and then you'll see, I don't even know all the names. I'm not a flower person. Like, I'm not even a gardener. I just started, I'd never planted anything but pumpkins when I was in kindergarten. Yeah.
Oh,
Stacy,
yeah.
my wife loves gardening.
I see
never
her
have.
Instagram, and she's amazing. I got my son some seeds for Christmas because he loves watermelon, so I got him watermelon seeds. And during summer, we planted sunflowers because he really wanted to plant sunflowers. So when I'm in the garden, he always comes out with me. But he's very sensitive, and he really likes that quiet time. And I find gardening so therapeutic. So I've always been like encouraging of anyone to garden and like the flowers. That's amazing. I love the idea of seed bombing. Just buying those like 99-cent packets that you can just buy, and then like.
Yeah, I don't go a little. I went a little extreme, That's how I do.
I mean, I'll just keep like a pack in my purse or something.
I'll mail you a pallet.
I can see a marketing strategy here where you just send out little things of seeds to people, and they're like, thank yous and thank yous.
Absolutely.
And Darren has been recording some of that, so you can see also all of these flowers popping out here and there. So that's,
making videos.
Yeah,
definitely. And I, it's funny, you get fixated on wanting to share some things. Like I was making all these videos to share with the world, and it just didn't happen with my arm and with all this stuff. And so that's like going back to purpose. I missed it. I didn't stay on track. I got it 80%, and then I went back to doing my thing again. And so I want to go back to that. And so even this conversation, you guys are helping me go, oh, you've forgotten one thing. Perfect.
Aww.
I'll remember that now. And now I'll go back and investigate. Yeah. Why did I forget that thing? Why did it lose its significance?
So is it necessary? Maybe it was okay to just, maybe the first, the really important action was actually to put the seeds, in the ground and to enjoy, because you went back and you saw that happening. So maybe that was sufficient, right? And that's why you stopped.
It's tough when your art is also, video, and because it's, for me, I have to decide, am I in the moment or am I sharing the moment? It's hard for me to do both, because I'm very good at creating moments that are special and that are, but sometimes the camera is the worst thing in the world, because you miss every ounce of the sunset. It's not the same view. It will never be the same. It's just a essence, right? And so,
that's a very important point you're making, is
being
or creating the moment and sharing that.
I wrote it down. That's what I was doing. I was grabbing a pen in the moment.
And maybe those moments are not for, in my brain, I'm like, oh, I'll take that to the masses, and then to the other masses, and then to your masses, and then to their masses. And maybe that's just a compulsive thing of me, because I'm just always creative and marketing and always doing something. And so it's a challenge for me to leave my phone in the car. And sometimes Stace is just like, hey, how about we just go for a walk? And I'm like, but it's really gorgeous out. It's like,
then you really appreciate it after.
I know.
Like once you get out there and you're like, okay, I feel good. Like, this was the right thing to do.
But there's also something about stealth marketing, is to, like, you have told me the story, you have shared me, you have shown me some of these movies you made. I mean, the clips of the video clips you made, the raw records, and now I'm speaking about that. So maybe someone else will do, will plant seeds. Maybe
Absolutely.
DJ will be doing that, and someone who's listening will be doing that, and then you will see this pocket of flowers popping up everywhere, and maybe that's the story, or maybe
Yeah.
it gets picked up, and or you share the video at some point, and then it becomes massive. And we have an answer response from Mackenzie, that essence will be transferred to the world. Absolutely. I think that's
Hopefully. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what you have done is, it may not have been witnessed, right, except for what we're doing now, but certainly the world has witnessed it, and certainly the flowers who exist thanks to that, and people who are seeing those flowers appear from nowhere.
Yeah.
It creates something in them, and maybe they also realize, maybe I can do something different. What can I do different?
Yeah.
Here are flowers that weren't there before, and now they're there. So what is it that I can do, right? And maybe that's what you're doing to the world, because that's what you make me do as well, is to make me do different things,
Yes.
than what I maybe dare to do, or what I'm used to do. But just by the way that you are, the playfulness and the creativity, and
Oh
the
yeah.
confidence you instill, it's sort of
Hmm.
we want to do these things differently, because it's fun and playful, and it's we learn new stuff with that. Yeah.
And with
Would
Yeah.
you
love.
Absolutely.
And with love, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've had a lot of fun already playing with some of your ideas, and one of the things I'm looking forward is to have I think LinkedIn allows us 4 hours of live. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking
Per
for
day.
one Sunday afternoon per day, yes, for one
Ooh.
Sunday afternoon or something like that, where we spend just having conversations and playing records, and just
Yeah. That'd be so
maybe
cool.
writing songs, as we as we are,
Ooh.
just and DJ will come, and she will write poems as well. She isn't there yet, but it will come.
No?
But I'm practicing the skills and I'm going for it, right? Even if I
Yeah.
don't feel ready, like in the sense, well, when do you feel ready? I mean, there's definitely a sense of, like I said, comfort in it, and something that I'm drawn to, something that excites me, something that I see a lot of opportunity in for like my self development and for like others, like healing, right? Like what we were talking about. Like you can see how it's another tool or another like avenue to really like heal with and express with, whether it's my healing that I'm sharing or encouraging others to heal. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
uh,
I
gotta
took one from the idea from your umbrella. We were in I don't know if you were in the same workshop or if it was another one later. This was later on. It wasn't that topic. It was the next workshop I did. So Dorothy, you could help
Yeah.
me with the timeline. And I did a poem that I wrote called The Cedars. And
Okay.
to me, it was about my experience with the world and hypervigilancy and not trusting, not, like how you would or me would take a job or think we can't do it again or can't go out it, like for me, the idea that, oh, I'm too old to start over again is
Yes,
asinine.
I
It's
get that one.
asinine.
Yeah.
It's asinine because the most creative and effective people, if you look around, didn't do it until they were our age again or later. And so there's no such thing as too late. Like it's just, when are you going to start? Because that's when you get life that you wanted, right? And that's what we're all clawing for here.
I was having dinner with my mother-in-law, and I told her, I just started learning the piano,
Ooh.
and she says, "But aren't you supposed to start very young?" So I said, "Well, I've started." So yeah, so it's true. I think we have that idea that we have to be a certain age for certain things, or we have to be young to learn, or we have to be old to be, at a certain level, or
Hmm.
whatever it is, or that we cannot do this before that age, or before we've reached that level, or some, like a game where you have to acquire some skills before you can get to the next level, and so on. And in my experience, it's not true. It's really up to what you feel is right for you, and what you feel excited about, and what's opportunities you get as well, because not everyone gets the same opportunity at the same time in their life, or there might be through luck, or through meeting people, or because they have worked very hard at learning some new skills, or because they had to focus maybe on survival for themselves or with their family, and so then the age is it's the right age is when it's there, right? It's there's no other age than that. And personally, I find the kind of the older I get, younger I feel, in a way, because I'm coming into myself, and I'm doing the stuff that I'm enjoying, that maybe previously I didn't allow myself to do, or I didn't know I
Hmm.
wanted to do. And so I feel that's also, in terms of purpose, I think an important element. Maybe the purpose changes, it varies. Maybe it's kind of in the same direction, but it will take different shades and different nuances, or maybe it will be completely different in terms of its expression. Maybe not so
Yes.
Hmm.
much in terms of the essence of it, right? But the form it takes might be completely different. And so sometimes I know, because also I'm a bit of a multi-slasher, and I do different things, that people may feel like I'm maybe switching from one thing to another, or they don't see the internal journey that happens.
Mm.
And for me, it feels very natural, because it's in continuation of what I've always done, but it may appear to be different. And maybe so my invitation to everyone is to really do what you feel is right, and follow your love and your intuition, and not just the models, and the what society tells you, or what seems to be right for a certain age. And I mean, obviously, I'm never going to be a concert pianist, with well, who
Why
knows?
not?
I don't know.
Who
Why not?
knows?
Actually,
You
who
don't
knows?
Come
I
know.
on.
don't
You
know.
don't
You better
know.
knock that off. We believe in
You
you.
know. Okay,
I'll
next
be
year we'll
there.
have.
I'll be there.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. In fact, anyway, I just what the next step is learning one song, and then another song, and as we go
Yeah.
on, we learn more and more, and we understand more and more. And like I was telling her as well, that in fact, if I had learned the piano when I was much younger, I would not have been able to stick with it, because it would have been a certain way of learning. I would not have had the experience,
Hmm.
in music that I've had now. So all these things would make it more complicated, or difficult, or annoying, or
Right.
frustrating. Whereas now I'm just enjoying it. So, and it's also my kind of meditation. So anyway, that's um
Got me crying, Dorothy.
uh why?
Just because everything right there resonates. Like that's so I've always been into social services, right? And helping people. And so though it feels like I'm doing now something different, like wait, what? You want to speak, or you want to do poetry, or you want to do remote producing. That has nothing to do with quote unquote mental health and disability. But still, like that connection and that advocacy is fundamental to my purpose, and that will no one I can't lose that, because I've invested so much. So even no matter how I tried to do something different, I think that will always be there,
Mm,
underneath. So yeah, there's always that connection. So that's why that hits home and it brings me to tears, because it's true. I feel like the age, or you're starting something totally different, like what do you, not that I've been questioned, like what are you doing, but to my own internal self, right? If anything, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. I get the external reassurance, but internally I'm questioning my
yeah.
own self.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yep.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah. So beautiful though.
Mm.
You know what's
Oh.
funny is like, you could see how just the one person's purpose affects the next person's and the next and the next. And so, you know, Dorothy, you affecting my purpose in me learning my language is taking me to 2 hours away from Seattle, Washington, to the middle of the desert, which is on my way, which is not on the way. It's added an additional half a state trip to Canada, where now we are on our way moving. And as soon as I decided to get my surgery, I thought, oh, well, maybe we'll be there in a year from now. Maybe. And I stopped, like how you said, maybe someday, or no, I won't be a concert pianist. And what happened as soon as I started spending time again, and it's been maybe a few days now in the morning, I'm like, oh, we could go there in the spring. There's nothing stopping us. Like, because the closer I get to that, is it answers itself on the way there. It's just like when we moved out here, it was blind faith. We visited this house once, and it was a total whim. I'd never even been to this part of the state.
Wow.
And yet it's been an immense pocket for me to heal, for me to find quiet, for me to create a beautiful studio I'm in now. Instead, you know, when I was doing all those shows for Jimmy Jam, it was like just scrapped together in my garage. And this feels like, if you walked in here, you would think I'm a record producer. And that makes me feel a way when I walk in here, because I am. You just haven't heard my first album. And so, you know, I got to get to Canada, and that's when I'm going to kick mine off. I feel that's kind of my journey. So that's back to purpose, is like you're saying, about being a part of others' healing and like passion and all of that. You know, DJ, you're super empathetic to a fault where it can affect you physically, right?
Yeah.
Dorothy is the same way, and I'm the same way. It's so funny how it's like, whoops, did we accidentally all end up here? Because Jimmy Jam is exactly the same way too. And it's not an accident. There's a greater purpose happening. All of our ideas and things we do are so different and unrelated, yet they all kind of are similar, and they all kind of lace. And so who knows what 2 years from now this is going to look like. But I know that, Dorothy, you probably, if you haven't had 1 or 2 shows yet, I'll be pissed. Because I'll be playing backup or doing something, or I'll set up your mics or whatever, because I do know you're a musician. And when I met you, you were learning, or no, you were practicing, and you wouldn't play. And like, it's different. You've fallen into it, and now you're more musical, right? It just, now piano is way easier, and this is easier. And,
yeah.
And so
it's getting there. Yeah. Next year at the Albert Hall in London.
Or whatever it is, it doesn't matter where it is, because whatever that pocket is, it's meant for you, and it's already there's a community that needs to be there and receive you. Just as there's a community waiting a year from now to receive DJ and whatever is in her brain that she hasn't let the world see yet. It's the same thing with me. What is it? And so we'll look back on this December 29th. That's going to be cool, and see 2 years, 1 year. Wow. Oh man.
What happens? Yeah.
We still are growing. We're still changing, and we're still fighting and scrapping for purpose and love and community, hopefully, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, always.
Yeah.
So I think, like, how do I keep my roots, right? Like, maybe sitting on a board. How can I continue to give to my community while I'm still chasing my own desires? Because sometimes I feel a sense of selfishness, like, oh, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm turning my back on this, that, and the other. And I know that's just a matter of perception, but still, right? Like, So it's still, how do I stay my roots to what my purpose is, my community, people with disabilities, individuals, that want opportunity, and how do I stay connected to my local community to do that and still have that fulfillment of my purpose. So I know that that's something that I'm, exploring.
Mm.
So maybe sitting on a board, right, for a community, a group, volunteering. So just finding ways, because I still have my purpose and that won't change. It's still people, and it's still serving those in need, and in vulnerable states that just need opportunity, or need advocation, or need an just want to express, right, don't want to feel alone. I mean, there's just so many components.
And I think as well, there's something that's that you do as well, is to help others who have projects, maybe that's to make sure that those projects are supportive of
Hmm.
disabilities, and even go
Hmm.
beyond that, because in fact, once we design stuff to welcome and to be inclusive of everyone, then what we have designed is so much better for
Hmm.
everyone in the world. So there's a lot of things that you can do there. And I'm now just going into just checking a link, because I was put in touch with a young woman who is in Israel, and she has this community of artists. And one of the things that I was just going to share that with you, they have this. It's called the Dream Collective, but they have this big dream that they are currently manifesting in a way. I'm just putting it, I guess, in the chat link. But what they're doing is they say, if you want to write a story, share about what you imagine 2030 to be like. Share that with us, and
Oh.
then we pair you with a visual artist, and then we put all together in a video. And currently they're actually showing that on big cities, like I think it was in New York a couple of days ago. And the idea is also to actually project the film with all these dreams that have been made visual in many cities around the world, but also in space. So
Ooh.
so I've put the link in the chat, because I think it's a type of thing that's fun project to think about. How do we want the world to look like in next year, in 2 years time, and how do we contribute? And how about the streets, and how about the squares, and how about the way people relate to each other, and so on, and how do we use technology then, that type of things. And I think that's also part of our role, is to dream that up and to share those dreams, because if you only look at the news, and we get completely despaired. So anyway, that's a fun project to work on. And I think one of next, like the next poetry workshop is about standing for love. So that's coming up. There's one this Saturday, just for the transition, and then there's a couple more. But I'm thinking that maybe the next thematic might be just, what is your dream for 2030, for instance. So if we were to put that into poetry, if we were to share, that's what would happen. And as soon as we speak about these type of things, then like purpose and love, then the energy changes. Like even now, I'm getting even more excited, and so I think Mackenzie might go look in that. Mackenzie, they're also just looking for they're ever expanding also the number of artists who can translate some of these dreams into images. So
Wow.
I'm sure that they would be happy
Wow.
to see you arriving. I don't know them well, but I'm going to. In fact, it's one of the women, Dimple, who co-produced a song we heard in the beginning, who did a film with my song about the poem for love, called Cillians, where she shows people in London just doing who they are naturally, but it's standing for love as a result. And she's in touch with Sharona, and that's how found out about this big dream. So the network and the connections and the communities is what is going to happen. So I just see a new comments. I'm still waiting for my self-drying clothes, like Back to the Future promised. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. You know,
Dang.
self-drying, self-ironing. You know, all this stuff. I mean, if I could have just a pill for my food, I would be happy.
I just settled for the hoverboard, if anybody asks, from Back to the Future. That's what the world needs, is more fun. Not
Absolutely.
dry clothes.
All right. So you're saying playfulness and fun for the worlds. Yeah. DJ, what would be your keywords before we end the show? I guess it's time, kind of. We have playfulness.
Acceptance. Acceptance.
Yeah.
One.
You want a second?
I
You can have a second word.
I hope it wasn't 3, but if I come up with another one. But right now I felt like my message was, I didn't realize that it would morph into advocating for acceptance, because it's always, you start with an idea, but then it has this natural organic change that comes to it. And as it continues to kind of become like it molds into what it's supposed to be. So for me, it was acceptance, like really advocating for others to understand what is acceptance, how awareness is, everyone's heard awareness, right? This awareness and that awareness, but acceptance is just a whole nother component. And I really found that I was more in that space and talking about that for other people than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, cool. So we have playfulness. We have acceptance, which I will move into love as well. And then the advocacy, and what I would have said is like the strength, the power. And these 3 are very good energies for healing. So if we can bring that in the world, standing for love, for acceptance, with playfulness, with creativity, with humor, being able to, you know, take distance from what's happening, then I think we can bring a lot of things to the world. We can certainly live better lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, the 2 of you, and also Mackenzie, for being there tonight. I had fun. It was also very deep. Thank you. It's making me think as well, and reconnect with my own purpose. So that's really beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you guys. Gela Kasla.
Thanks for the invitation, Dorothy. Thanks for having me, Diru, here, accompany you.
So good to see you, DJ.
It was
Thanks
good
for
to
joining
see you.
us.
So I'll see you soon, and have a great time. And you know, let's think about the seeds of love we can, you know, plant in the earth.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm ending the broadcast. See you soon.